Okay, so my dear friends, today I am going to discuss about the simplex method. So if they have given the problem like this, z max equal to 6x1 plus 5x2 subjected to the constraint x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 5 and also 3x1 plus 2x2 less than or equal to 12, x1 comma x2 is greater than or equal to 0. If the problem is given like this, so if I want to solve this by using the tabular method or in the simplex method, so what is the first step is we have to convert the inequalities into equations. In the first step what I'll do is I'll convert these inequalities into equations. X1 plus x2 plus x3 equal to 5, and also second one we have 3x1 plus 2x2 plus x4 equal to 12, and I'll write the z max. Z max equal to 6x1 plus 5x2 plus 0x3 plus 0x4, and finally we can write x1 comma x2 comma x3 comma x4 greater than or equal to 0. So actually you can see that, so because of the inequality is less than or equal to, so what I done here is I added the slack variable. I think already you know about the slack variable and also the surplus variables. If the inequality is less than or equal to, we are adding the slack variables. If the inequality is greater than or equal to 0, greater than or equal to, so then we are using surplus variable, or we can also say it as a negative slack variable. So in this case what I'll do is I'll add the positive slack variable in order to convert the inequality into equation. So now, so what I'll do now here is after converting the inequalities into equations, so in case of simplex method, so we have to draw the table like this. In this table, so actually you can see that in the z max I written 6x1 plus 5x2 plus 0x3 and 0x4. Why we have put it 0 in this place? Actually the slack variable will not have any contribution to the objective function. So because of that reason what we are doing is, so we are putting 0 over there. So because the slack variables will not have any contribution to the objective function. If any contribution, if they given by the slack variable, then the objective function will be changes. Because of that reason what I'll do is I will not put any value. 0 will be multiplied for the slack variable because these variables will not give any contribution to the objective function. So now what I'll do now here is according to the objective function I'll write the variables x1, x2, x3 and x4. Okay, so we have the RHS value, we have to write here. Okay, so RHS values will be written in this place. So now in this case what I'll do here is, we know that the simplex method will not evaluate infeasible solutions. So because of that reason what we are doing is we are making which are all the variables we have added as a extra variables or the slack variables, that variables we are making as a basic variable, and remaining these two variables are called as the non-basic variables. I think already we know regarding the basic variables in case of algebraic simplex method. Okay, in this case also what I'll do is x3 and x4 are the basic variables. So that's why what I'll do is I'll take that variables this side, x3 and also x4 will be considered as a basic variables. So now what I'll do is I'll write the values inside the table, how the coefficients of these equations. So the first equation coefficient for the x1 is 1, x2 is 1, x3 is 1 and x4 is not there, RHS is 5. Same manner, so we have 3, 2 and also 0, 1, RHS is equal to 5. After writing this, you have to remember which are all the basic variables you made, that basic variables as to maintain the identity matrix. In this case, we have done x3 and x4 are the basic variables. So for these basic variables, inside the table we have 1, 0 and 0, 1. These identity matrix has to be maintained in each and every iteration based on the which variable you made it as a basic variable. So now the coefficients of these values will be in the Z max. The coefficient of x1 is 6, coefficient of x2 is 5, the coefficient of x3 is 0, coefficient of x4 is 0. Actually, these values what we are written here, so that values are called as the Cj values. Okay, the coefficient of x3 is 0 and coefficient of x4 is 0. Once you write all these values in this iteration, you need to find out Zj after this. What is Zj? How you are finding this Zj? Actually, the Zj will be calculated by multiplying the coefficient of these x3 into 1, 0 into 1 plus the coefficient of x4, 0 into 3. 0 into 1 plus 0 into 3, it will give 0, it will give 0, it will give 0, it will give 0. After finding Zj, in the next step, you have to find out Cj minus Zj. We need to find out Cj minus Zj. Already we know that the Cj values are these values, Zj values already we have found. Cj minus Zj is 6 minus 0, so we are getting 6. 5 minus 0, 5. This is 0, 0. One more thing you have to keep it in your mind is, which are all the variables you made it as a basic variables. Cj minus Zj values are 0, 0. You have to keep in mind in this. Okay, so after finding Cj minus Zj in this iteration, what is the next thing you have to do? Actually, our intention is to maximize the objective function. So because we have the objective function is the maximization type, because of that reason we have to maximize the profit. In order to maximize the profit, you have to look on to the Cj minus Zj values, which value is the larger in this row. Actually, in this row, 6 is a larger. So you have to write like this. That means that the corresponding variable for this column is entering into the table. That means that x1 is entering into the table because x1 wanted to become a basic variable. Okay, so already we have the basic variable x3 and x4. Which variable is going out? In order to find which variable is going out, we need to find out theta value. How we are finding the theta value? RHS divided by the corresponding entering variable value. Okay, so here RHS is 5, the corresponding entering variable value is 1, so this will become 5. Okay, in the same manner you have to calculate. RHS is 12, here is 3, so then this 3 is entering variable value, so then we got 4. So once you find out the theta, you have to look on to the which is the smallest value. So actually the smallest value corresponding to that variable is going out, then that row is called as the leaving row, and also that is called as a leaving variable. So the leaving variable is nothing but x4 is going out, so in that place x1 is entering into that place. Okay, so here after that, so what you have to do is you have to mark pivot element. The pivot element is nothing but intersection of entering variable and also leaving variable, so that value will give the pivot element. Okay, so once you identify the pivot element and also once you identify which variable is going out, you have to go for the next iteration. In the next iteration, so already you people are know that x4 is going out, x3 will be remains the same, x4 instead of x4, x1 will be there in that place. So now already we have x4 is some values. We need to find out the values of x1 because we have replaced instead of x4 we got x1. To get the x1 values, divide this row with the pivot element. If you divide this row with the pivot element, you are getting, so 3 divided by 3 you are getting 1, and also this will be 2 by 3, this will be 0, this will be 1 by 3, this will be 4. Okay, so once you got the new values for the x1, again what you have to do is you have to find out the values of x3. So already I mentioned for you people which are all the variables are the basic variables. That variables has to maintain the identity matrix. How means x3 and x4? We saw that 1, 0 and 0, 1. Already we have x3 here is there. So 0 is there. What is the expected value in this place is 1. In the same manner, instead of x4, already x4 is 0, 1. Instead of x4 we got x1. Already we got 1 in this place. I want to get 0 in this place. Okay. Assume that we need to get these two values will be 0 and 1 in this place. In order to get these values in these places, what the row operation or column operation you have to do? Row operation and column operation is nothing but addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Okay. So in order to get 0 in this place, by using old x3, you have to use old x3 and already we got new x1. Okay. What operation you can do? So I want to get 0 here, I want to get 1 here. So just what I'll do is, I'll subtract x1 from x3. Okay, I'll subtract x1 from x3. Will you get 0 and 1 in these places? We'll check it out. 1 minus 1, 0. 1 minus 0, 1. So that means that our rule is saying that which are all the variables are the basic variable. That variables has to maintain the identity matrix in that iteration. So we have x3 and x1. We have 0, 1 and 1, 0. So what I'll do is, I'll do that operation. 1 minus 1 is 0. 1 minus 2 by 3. 1 minus 2 by 3. So this will give 1 by 3. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'll write 1 by 3 here. Next, 1 minus 0, 1. 0 minus 1 by 3 will get minus 1 by 3. 5 minus 4, we got 1. Okay. So now you see the basic variables having the identity matrix 0, 1 and also the 1, 0 in this place. Okay. So with this, what I'll do is, you have to find out the next thing is Zj, same manner. What are the coefficients of x3? x3 is 0, x1 is 6. Okay. So now find out the Zj. Zj is 6, 4, 0, 2, 24. Just what I'll do is, I'll multiply 0 into 0 plus 6 into 1, we got 6. Same manner the remaining values. So after finding Zj, you have to find out Cj minus Zj. So how we are finding Cj minus Zj? Already we have the Cj values, Zj values in this iteration. We got 6 minus 6, 0. 5 minus 4 is 1. 0 minus 0, 0. 0 minus 2 minus 2, we got 24. So now in the second iteration, we got the values of Cj minus Zj, that is 0, 1, 0, minus 2 and also we got 24 in this. Once you got in this Cj minus Zj value, our intention already I told, we need to, so we have to maximize the profit. In order to maximize the profit, is there any possibility to increase the profit? You have to look on to the Cj minus Zj. So we have the positive value. These values are 0 and negative value. We have one positive value. So this variable is entering into the basis. Okay, that means that the corresponding value for this one is x2 is entering, x3 and x1 is already there. Which one is going out? So that can be identified by using the theta value. So how you can do that? So this will be RHS divided by 1 divided by 1 by 3. So this will becomes 3 and this will becomes 4 by 2 by 3. This will becomes 6. Okay. So now in this case, which one is the smallest? 3 is the smallest. The corresponding pivot element is this, and also this variable is called as the living variable, and also this row is called as the living row. Okay. Once you identify the pivot element, the next thing is, what you have to do is, we need to place in this place is x2 and x1. So already we have the x3 values. What you have to do is, you have to divide with the pivot element to get the x2 values. If I divide this, you are getting 0, 1. So this will be 3, this will be minus 1, this will be 3. Okay. So after doing this, we have the basic variables x2 and also x1. We need to maintain the identity matrix for this. Already we got 0 and 1. We need to get 1 and 0 in this place. To get this 1 I want to get in this place and also 0 in this place. By using old x1 old x1 and new x2. What operation you can do? So if I subtract this 1 minus 0, 1, no problem. 2 by 3 minus 1, so you are not getting 0. What I'll do for this will be, I'll multiply 2 by 3 for x2 and subtracting from, so this will be x1 minus 2 by 3 into x2. If I done like that, you are getting 1 minus 2 by 3 into 0, 1. 2 by 3 minus 2 by 3 into 1 is 0. 3 minus 0 minus, actually this will be 0 minus 2 by 3 into 3. This will be minus 2. And also if I done 1 by 3 minus 1 by 3 minus 2 by 3 into minus 1. So this will becomes 1 by 3 plus 2 by 3. This will becomes 1. Okay. And also what is the value of this? So this will be 4 minus 2 by 3 into 3. So this will becomes 2. Okay, because this and this will cancel. You are getting the value here is 2. So now after finding these values, what are all the coefficients of this is x2 is 5, x1 is 6. You need to find out zj for this. What is the zj value in this case? 6, 5. What is the value of this? 5 3s are 15. 15 minus 12, 3. In this case, minus 5 plus 6. This will be 1. So this will be 15 plus 12, 27. So what is the next thing? Cj minus zj. So what is the Cj minus zj value? 6 minus 6 is 0. 5 minus 5 is 0. And this one is minus 3, minus 1, 27. So we got the values of Cj minus Zj. What is the next thing? You have to go for the next iteration. Is it possible for me to go for the next iteration? No, because we have reached the maximum value here. Cj minus Zj values are zeros and negative values. If you have a situation like this, so our algorithm says that you have to stop the problem. You cannot proceed with the next step. You have reached the solution. So now we got the value of Z max is equal to 27. So what you have to do is finally you have to write x2 is equal to the corresponding value is 3, x1 is equal to the corresponding value is 2, and Z max equal to 27 we got. Okay, so this is the answer for this problem. Okay, so what we have done here is, I'll repeat once again. So we have converted inequalities into equation because based on the inequalities. If it is less than or equal to, we are adding the slack variable. If it is greater than or equal to, we have to go with the negative slack variables. Then we have written the table. So we have made it extra variables are called as the basic variables. Why means, so our simplex method says that it will not evaluate infeasible solutions. Because of that reason, these will give the feasible solutions. Like, so x3 and x4, we have made it as a basic variables. After that, we have identified the values of these inside the table. We have identified the Zj, then we have identified the Cj minus Zj. So, and also after this, which are all the highest value in this, that will enter into the table. After that, we have identified the theta, so that indicates the leaving variable that identifies the pivot element. So same manner, so what we have to do is, we have to do it in the second iteration. Okay, so once you identify the pivot element, that variable replaces with the new variable. If you goes on like this, till you are getting Cj minus Zj values will be zeros and also the negative values. Finally, you have to stop the problem. So with the answer, so what you are getting the Z max. Okay, actually this method is, actually what I done here is, I done the Z max problem. If it is a Z minimization, this is the answer for this problem. Okay, if it is a Z minimum, so what you have to do in case of simplex method? Many you people are having the confusion because sir has done only the Z max. What about the Z min? If it is Z min, so you have to convert this Z minimize. We know how to solve the Z max problem. So we need to convert the Z minimization problem into Z maximization. How means just multiply, so you will get Z max. Okay, Z minimum equal to minus of Z max. Okay, so just multiply the minus for the objective function and remaining things are the same. Once you got the answer, what you have got Z max, in order to convert this into a Z min, multiply for minus for this. Or that will give the answer for the simplex method in the tabular form. My dear friends, I done only 2 equations. What you have to do is, you have to do it with the 3 equations and the number of variables you have to increase, solve many problems. Okay, so in order to perfect in this simplex method. Okay, so in the next class I'll continue with the big M method and also two-phase and degeneracy. Okay, I'll upload the videos for you people. Okay, thank you.